Well, you know me, I'm always the optimist, and I am extremely optimistic about what Elon Musk is doing in Washington, D.C. And it looks like the Republicans are really coming in behind Elon and his Doge Commission. However, on the other side of the coin, it might be that these politics are impacting reporting, and the reporting tends to be negative right now. And for one reason or another, Tesla stock is down again today in a tepid market. I think I predicted that yesterday. I think today you will see a lot of no movement in the overall markets because they're waiting to see what happens tomorrow with jobs. We will have some jobs information later in the reporting, but there's no news this morning that is, moving stocks particularly one way or the other. Now, on the other side of the coin, Tesla has really good news this morning, or at least potentially some very good news. Anyway, let's just jump in. So, right now, Elon's politics are hurting sales in Europe is the headline, and in California, that's another headline. And then there's headlines about what Elon is doing is criminal. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's tariff fears that the Cybertruck shipping into China could be impacted by tariffs. Do you know that if and when the Cybertruck ships into China, the folks who are willing and interested in buying the Cybertruck in China in that first round, it won't matter if there's a 10 or 15% tariff. They will be lining up to buy it anyway. This is not going to be the issue. So anyway, but those are the kinds of headlines we're getting this morning and might have something to do with this quite a substantial sell-off today, with, again, the rest of the market kind of being blah. All right. So this is some, kickback or some clapback. First one's from James Catt, who's a very, very good analyst, who's commonly very, very good at looking at the numbers. He says, and by the way, you can find him though at TSLAFANMTL, Tesla Fan Metal. Don't know what that comes from. He says Europe sales are down quite heavily year over year, and this has been widely reported. In his opinion, this is a function of both demand softness, but also supply availability, as inventory levels were deliberately drawn down at the end of quarter four. Overall, demand is not down 50% year over year. Demand is not equal to sales. He says Tesla is not even promoting heavily at this moment. Why would they when supply is limited? In quarter four, Tesla had 0% financing, but as of October 4 on Model 3 and Y, there will be a transition between Model Y versions. And depending on how production ramps, volume sales in quarter one could be pretty low. But the irony is that the financials may actually look better because the sales do not happen. The sales that do happen won't be heavily discounted. We actually saw other reporting that Model 3 sales seem to be just fine right now in Europe. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said several times. This is Teslarati. I think this is Teslarati. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said several times that other automakers are interested in licensing his company's autonomous driving technology. There are never any names explicitly mentioned, but Ford has been suggested by Musk. I think the article means, but Ford could be a contender. Now, Ford reported fourth quarter earnings on Wednesday evening. The results were fine, but their guidance was below what the street was expecting, and their shares are down about 5% this morning, actually about 4% this morning. The topic of artificial intelligence came up in the call. Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas and said he asked about their autonomy strategy. What is the strategy around AI and autonomy? Really, asked Jonas, because I think many argue that if you're an industrial company, auto company like Ford, you're going to either have an AI strategy or you don't have a future. Now, Ford had shuttered a self-driving effort called 𝐅𝐫𝐢𝐝 back in 2022 after spending billions. He says the article says teaching cars to drive themselves turned out to be harder and more expensive than almost anybody expected. Alphabet's Waymo and Tesla are still standing. Waymo completed more than 150,000 self-driving cab rides a week. Tesla has continued to improve the full self-driving product and plans to launch full self-driving cabs in 2025. Here's what Ford's Farley had to say. We are not so Pollyannish about our own capability that we're not going to look at other people's systems or not believe that level 4 personal autonomy is going to be interesting at some point, answered Farley. I think you're going to find, just like our move on Argo, we will be thoughtful and practical. Ford management knows the FSD system, the Tesla system. They know the Waymo system. I think we'll make a good decision, but I think, Adam, we're a lot closer to that partnering decision at Ford. So partnering is a possibility. Ford and Tesla didn't respond to requests for comment about potential partnership. To be sure, the idea that Ford and Tesla could talk about FSD licensing is just that, an idea. The exchange does lend some credence, though, to some of Musk's recent conference call comments. He says, what we are seeing at this point, significant interest from a number of major car companies about licensing Tesla full self-driving. A licensing agreement, the Teslarati article goes on to say, would most likely boost Tesla stock. It is a reason investors should pay attention to comment like Farley's. By the way, Tesla, another piece of really good news, Tesla put out a new set of job postings. They are looking for engineers and others to be part of a ramp of Optimus Bot. These postings include positions in 4 different locations. Here we go. One technical analyst thinks that today will be a record up day for Tesla. Right now he is completely, utterly wrong. I'll only name him later if he turns out to be right, if this market turns around for Tesla and we have a record up day. From investing.com, this is Wolf Research, says, despite these challenges, investors remain focused on Tesla's autonomy efforts. Wolf expects the company to launch its first robotaxi rideshare in June. Well, I wonder how he got that idea. They are said to include the safety performance of unsupervised FSD, the cost structure of the service, and what Wolf is waiting for after the launch, here's what they're waiting to jump in until they are more certain of the safety performance of the FSD in the robotaxi environment, the cost structure, and Tesla's ability to retain users once they use the product. While Wolf remains on the sidelines with a peer performance rating on Tesla, noting concerns over Tesla's valuation and execution risks, the firm acknowledged that Tesla remains a catalyst-driven stock with AI and autonomy developments on the horizon. Yeah, we just saw very good news with regard to robotaxi, very good news with regard to Optimus, and the stock is down. Well, this is what AJ had to say to me this morning on X. He says, I have to disagree with you, Randy. I was saying that eventually Elon will be successful, very successful in DC. It will be obvious to the general public that what he did was outstanding and that therefore eventually he would become, his popularity would rise again. And AJ says, no, he says, it's unlikely that most Americans will wake up and recognize what he did for them and is about to do for them. So AJ recognizes how important it is. The issue is that the damage is decades long at this point. Propaganda-induced brainwashing can't be undone in most cases. Some, but far from most, will eventually get it, but it's a long and arduous process. For the few we win, we keep losing others. The fact that still so many people hate him after all these years and what he has done represents glaring evidence. I wish you were right, though. But here was some people on the other side of that. Let's start with Mario Nawfal is reporting on what Treasury Secretary, the brand new Treasury Secretary said yesterday. He says, Doge will win. This is Scott Bessent. Elon is the greatest entrepreneur of this decade. Doge is not going to fail. They're moving a lot of people's cheese here in the Capitol. At the Treasury, our payment system is not being touched. Can we have a more accountability, more accuracy, more traceability, that the money is going where it is? Yeah, that would be great. So here's some balanced reporting. More Teslarati. Tesla is facing a call for boycotts against this company after Polish Minister 𝐄𝐦𝐚𝐢𝐥 called out CEO Elon Musk for his thoughts on moving past its dark history. Well, so is this a joke? Anyway, Musk's comments included suggesting for Germany to move past its dark history from the 1930s and 1940s. I mean, it is getting close to 100 years, and these people, there's almost nobody alive who was a Nazi. I mean, there's like 6 left. The Polish minister 𝐼𝐸 told media in late January that consumers should begin striking against Tesla by boycotting the company from a consumer standpoint. He said there's no justification for any reasonable Pole to continue purchasing Teslas, well, unless they happen to be a really good value and provide performance and safety levels that nobody else can touch. That could be reason. A serious and strong response is necessary, including a consumer boycott. Is this from the leadership, from the president? It's no secret that Musk's political stances and thoughts on various issues are bound to reach some who disagree. These disagreements have led to boycotts in other countries, including in Germany, where the company abandoned its entire fleet of Teslas after Musk's support of President Trump. Politico first reported the story. Politico first reported the story about the Polish leadership. Yeah, well, we now know that Politico is being paid off by what's it called? USAID. Musk has fully taken on the role of political asset as is campaigning for Trump during the lead up to the November election, likely swung many voters. In fact, I'm pretty sure Elon was responsible for the win. Since then, he has headed the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, a new branch of government that is aiming to make changes to how dollars and other government money are spent. Since the election, Tesla has surely seen some pushback from everything from individual consumers to companies and countries. However, this is according to Teslarati, not me, it also seems that support for the company has never been higher, as many who previously were fans of Tesla are even more hell-bent on defending Musk and supporting his company's ventures. He has also gained the support from many conservatives who may have not thought positively of electric vehicles in the past. Who would have ever thought such a thing? Would it have been that a year ago I started saying that the Tesla had already won all the liberals. They'd already done the job in California. They needed the Midwest. They needed the flyover states. They needed the Republicans. And I don't think Elon switched his party allegiance in order to win Republican votes, but I think that's going to be the impact. All right, this is Randy Kirk. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify. Thank you so much for showing up. Just showing up. That's what I need you to do. Our numbers are up. Our February this year is phenomenal so far compared to last year. But just thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again. Okay, so joining Patreon would even be more incredible. And I love all the comments on X. That's great. Later on today, we've got Bradford Ferguson, of course, at around 5 o'clock. That's always, it could be 5 o'clock, 5:15. And then we have Cern Basher at 7:45. I know how much you like Cern. All right, this is from the Secretary of the Treasury. On Fox Business, he laid out almost exactly the same plan for the economy that I have been talking about. All right, he said we got to reduce government spending. The bond market will respond to that. He doesn't care what the Fed does, only what the bond market does. He cares. He wants interest. That means interest rates will go down. The private sector response to less regulation and more cash in the system will be business increasing dramatically. And then this creates more tax revenue. Then you renew the Trump 1.0 tax package that needs to be renewed. And then he wants to reduce corporate taxes more. We know that this creates more revenues. Everybody who's smart knows that when you reduce these corporate taxes, it improves the corporate results, which results in more revenue. This has been proven over and over again. And then you'll also have less interest expense because you'll reduce the deficit even more. This ratchet just keeps going and going and going. More production, more revenue from tax, more tax revenue, less inflation, lower interest rates. I mean, it's a great combination. All right, this is from the FX Street. says U.S. citizens filing new applications for unemployment insurance rose to 219,000 for the week ending February 1. It was a little higher than expected, but I don't think that the people who vote on that thing have a clue because they never write. And the number is always between like 205 and 235. And this week it was 219. It's a nothing burger. However, the print, they were expecting less. But the continuing jobless claims is the one I watch. As you know, if you watch my program all the time, that went up by 36,000 to 1.886 million. This shows continued softness. All right, then we have this from the government. Non-farm business sector labor productivity increased 1.2% in the fourth quarter. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported output increased 2.3, hours worked increased 1.0. Non-farm business sector productivity increased 2.3% in all of 2024. That's an okay number. Output increased 2.9, hours work was up 0.6. But unit labor costs in the non-farm business sector, unit labor costs in the non-farm business sector increased 2.6%, reflecting an increase of 5.8%. I'm sorry, that's not true. 5.0% in the hourly compensation and an increase of 2.3% in productivity. 5.0% continuing in hourly compensation. Real hourly compensation, which takes into account changes in consumer prices, increased at the 2% level in 2024. That's finally good for them. The folks are finally getting some real increases in income. In the manufacturing sector, however, productivity increased 0.3% in 2024, reflecting a decrease in output of 0.4% and a decrease in hours worked of 0.7%. Manufacturing continues to be the problem. Now then, on a side note, if you follow this channel, you know another one of my hobby horses is drone warfare. And here's Elon. We know Elon agrees with me. So, of course, that's why I'm going to report on it. Elon, any human caught in drone combat will be killed instantly. At the front of the battle lines, it's going to be just drones. Any humans caught in the crossfire will be killed instantly. You've got drones that are constantly scanning. They're scanning in infrared, scanning invisibly. There are thousands of them, tens of thousands or more. You've got 1 million drones coming at you. Do you want to be there trying to try and take out drones with an assault rifle? It's not going to be a good situation. The source of that is the West Point Military Academy in August of 2024. All right, so what we got? Let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. Well, Tesla is fighting back a bit this morning. It was down about 14 at the low point, at least so far. It is now only down 10.65. We've got the Dow down 75.55, NASDAQ up a little, 32.12, and the S&P up $7.77. We've got Apple down a little, Google down a little. The rest of the Mag 7 are up. Like I say, it is kind of a mixed market, no real directionality. Cathie Wood stocks are also completely mixed up and down, no directionality at all. Let's look at the percentages. The Dow is down 0.17%, NASDAQ up 0.16%, S&P up 0.13%, and Tesla down 2.82%. So we'll see. We'll find out what happens the rest of the day here as all of this continues to develop. All right, but here we go with the U.S. 10-year. So what we're seeing today is kind of a reversal of yesterday in a lot of these markets. And again, kind of anticipating tomorrow's labor numbers. People are just positioning themselves, not doing much right now. So the 10-year is up 1.6, but still well under 4.5 at 4.436. I'm hoping that we see just a neutral or slightly down jobs report tomorrow, and that we can get this 10-year to keep on going down. The 2-year is up actually 2.7 basis points. The 1 month is unchanged this morning. The oil numbers are continuing down, which is exactly what we want them to do. 24 cents for both Texas and Brent, and we're now at $70.79. I'm saying that we are in the, I think I said we'd be in the 60s by the end of the week. I think I've got a shot at making it. I think we'll be in the 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now, we might be in the 65, 64 range. And then after that, we'll drop maybe into the 50s. Natural gas down 0.77 this morning at 3.33. We've got gold taking some profits after it was well, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. It's back down $24 this morning to 28.68. Silver down at 1.78% at 32.39, still way up there. And copper taking a little breather, down 0.72% at $4.41, which again is right in the range. It's been very tight range for a long, long time. The yen is yeah, you got mixed on the dollar right now. You've got Bitcoin basically flat, down 156 at 97,306. All right. Eli Lilly is reporting just now beats on earnings, and but their weight loss and diabetes drug falls short. It doesn't say what happened to the stock. Okay. All right. That is what we have for you this morning. Reminder again, Bradford Ferguson later today, and then Sir Basher at 7:45. Yeah. Like, subscribe, notify, all that jazz. Oh, last night. Yes, last night, Brian Wong. Yeah, very, very outstanding. And last night was Wednesday night, right? Yeah, that was when I met visit with Jeff Lutz, and that show went nuts. So I'll put both of those up there if you want to go back. The Jeff Lutz conversation was outstanding. Highly recommend if you missed that when you go back. But Brian Wong was no slouch. That show was outstanding as well. So anyway, both cards. That's all I got for you right now. It'll be, see you later. It's great talking to you.